Hey everyone, I'm Nick.
I'm Vic.
And we're Envy Board Gaming. Today we're going to look at Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write. It's a 1 to 4 player game published by Panasaurus Games. It's designed by Brian Lewis, David McGregor, and Marissa Zura. Vic is going to teach us one, and we'll be back with our review.
All right, welcome to our overview of Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write. We've set up here for a 2-player game, and in this example, each player will get a sheet here with a park map and the dinosaur DNA storage area with the paddock recipe, dino recipe information, and you'll also have your run the park phase sheet. So each player is going to receive one of those, and we've put all 10 of our DNA dice in this bag here, and we've flipped this game board over to the 2-player side. You can see in this game you are trying to build a dinosaur park. You are going to go through 3 seasons, which are composed of 2 seasons of different dice actions, and then at the end you're going to move over to this run the park phase. So at the end of each season you'll get a chance, this little black arrow with a white arrow inside, will be the place that you're going to look to run the park phase. But first, starting off with the beginning of the game, you're going to put in 5 dice for 2 players, 10, all of the 10 dice are in here, but you're going to pick out 5 dice for 2 players to use each phase here with the dice. So the first player will grab 5 out of the bag and roll them up. And so the draft is actually done in a snake format. So if you are the first player, you'll make the first selection of dice, and then the second player is going to choose back to back, and then finally the first person will choose again. And the final dice that's left over, both players will acquire the reward for, and they'll also both get the threat that's denoted on the dice. What am I talking about here? Well, let's take a look. So what I've rolled here is some different dice with DNA. So we have the DNA pictured right on the dice. You can see them as the purple ones and the blue. That's nothing too crazy. If you were to gain those, you would just mark off the DNA with a circle beside the color of the DNA and the type of DNA as you acquire it. And this here is a coin. You're going to get 2 coins. 2 coins are spent on acquiring specialists, buildings. There are different areas on your board that you're going to be able to add coins. You can store them here. So anywhere you see a coin depicted, you can put them towards the purchase of a building or a specialist or a different area on your board. There's also this road symbol. The roads here, you would get 2 roads. The roads are important because you're going to want to put them on your park map in between your attractions so that you can connect from the HQ, the starting point, all the way to an exit. And then once you reach that during your Dino Tour, you'll see the points that you get from that. So you certainly want to spend time building roads, but if you pick this dice, you're going to get to have roads right away. There's some other features on the dice. If we look, we have this here, 2 security. That would mean you just mark on your security track here where you're keeping a tally of your threat and the security levels that you've achieved. There's a legend right beside it, but as you mark threat, you're going to put a solid dot in the center, and security will be an overall circle. There's also dice possibility that you could get this food store, or you could end up with a ride or merchandise, and that will all be counted here. As you acquire them, you'll mark off these spots and you'll draw the shape actually in your park map. And this goes the same as if you were to build a dinosaur, an herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore species. You would actually draw out the shape here. So it starts with a 2x2 square and then all the way to a 4x4 for those carnivores. They take up more room in your park. And they can help you get closer to exits to score points because you'll notice that there's points on the sides. But we'll get into that in the run of park phase. For now, we're just talking about the dice here. Another option here is, like I mentioned, the different DNA combinations you can get. And these dice are multi-purpose. So once you have chosen your dice, so if I was the first player, I ended up with these 2 and my opponent had those 2. And if we ended up with this dice at the end, like I said, we would both gain $1 and get mark 2 threat right away on our boards. Then we will use these dice to assign actions on the main board here. So I would go first, and I would take my dice and put it down where I want to and gain the benefit right away. So if I'm going to make dinosaurs, I'm going to be spending my DNA by Xing out the DNA I've accumulated in the storage here to make a dinosaur according to the recipes that are written at the bottom of the sheet. So that's pretty simple. Making 4 dinosaurs, you can make up to 4 of them, and you build the paddock. When you build a dinosaur of the same species, you're not going to draw another paddock. You would instead just mark the circle that's beside the species on your sheet. And you would immediately gain the excitement, which we'll get into in a moment, but you would mark that on your excitement tracker on the right side here, and you would take you'll get 2 victory points per one that you've created at the end of the game. If there's any threat from a dinosaur you built, that little red dot, you would add that immediately when you build them or you make the dinosaurs onto your threat tracker. There is straight up, you can place your dice to get $2 or 2 security in the raise fund section. If you would like to get more DNA, you could assign your dice to the extract DNA section, which will give you 2 basic or 1 advanced DNA. There is also a feature to duplicate, but you can't do it with attraction. So if my board was showing this this ride icon, I couldn't just put it down here and get 2 rides. That's not how it works. But I could put down a DNA symbol and I would be able to get 2 of those, or 2 coins, for instance, coin and a DNA here. If I get 2 though, my opponent will gain 1. So that's something to think about with the duplicate function. The build function is going to give you straight up 3 roads or another one of the merchandise, ride, or food areas. And that is the overall game board too. And at any time, you can spend $2 to gain any DNA of your choice, advanced DNA, or gain a road, or gain security. And another thing to mention about this section is that you can, if somebody's already gone to a spot that you wanted to go to, you can go there as well, but you just need to have a dice that has the threat greater than the one shown. So in this case, there's a 1 pip here denoting 1 threat. So I'd have to use a dice that had 2 threat to put on top to take that action. And if you stack it, you only take the threat that's visible on the top dice. So I would actually add that 2 threat because I used it to my threat tracker right away. All right, so that's that phase. You're going to do that twice in this season and mark it along as you go, where you'll repeat by rolling dice. And you'll get different combinations of dice because there's 10 in here and you're pulling 5 out. So they'll be a little different each time. Players will go back and forth. I will say that it's not a snake when you're doing the actions here. When you're assigning actions, it's back and forth, which is different than the draft. So something to keep in mind. Next, when we're finally in this phase here with the arrow, we're going to do the run the park phase, which will focus on this sheet. And this sheet here, you're going to start in order. If you ever gain a benefit at the bottom that affects something at the top, for instance, you can't go back. You'll have to wait till your next run of park opportunity to actually take advantage of something you've unlocked or used, just so you're aware. So anyways, if we start with the first attraction section, here you would, if you've built any of these, merchandise, ride, or food, you would gain the benefit according to how many of them you've built. So if I did 2 merchandise, I would get 2 dice to use and acquire the benefits of. If I did a ride, I would get the excitement, and again, these shapes will be built on your actual player board. And then if I did a food, however many I get, that's how many coins I'm going to get as income. Next, we'll move down to the specialist. If you've unlocked any of these by paying the cost, basically Xing out the coins. If you've done that, you'll gain the immediate bonus as soon as you hire them. But you'll also get every run of park phase, a security, for instance, 2 roads, or you get to make 2 dinos. And finally, if you've hired any of these specialists by paying their costs, which line up with A, B, C over here, if you paid for any of those, you would take their benefits. So this lawyer here would allow you to have the first 10 deaths that you have don't cause disasters, which we'll get into in a moment. Next, we go to the Dino Tour. This is where you'll actually move around your park according to the roads that you've built in between your attractions. And when you do put the attractions down, just note that you can't put them right next to each other. They can't be directly adjacent. They need to have a space in between them. So you'll mark them off, and hopefully, if you did it right, you'll be able to go from the headquarters all the way to an exit and circle that exit to gain those victory points right for the end of the game. One thing to note, you can't go to the same exit more than once, and once you've visited a spot, you won't gain excitement for it anymore. So only the first time you see it is it exciting, and you will mark an X in the spot that you visited, so you remember that you did actually visit that one in a previous Dino Tour. Next, after you're done that and gaining excitement for each unmarked one that you visited by circling this excitement track here, you will gain the rewards that you've circled off. So if I had made it to this 5 area here, I would have gained a basic DNA, a coin, and a security. You'll see here. So you'll go along, and obviously towards the end of the game, you're going to want to cross this off because you're going to get some points at the side for having a very exciting dino park. Next, you're going to take a look at your security and your threat, and if there's ever more threat than security, you're going to have some deaths happen. There's going to be some murders. And if that happens, you're going to mark off how many people were fatalities in this case. What's the mismatch? So if you had 6 threat and only 4 security, you're going to mark down 2. Every time you encounter a disaster, you're going to actually take a punishment of sorts off your board. So for instance, here you'll have to mark off the loss of one of your dinosaurs that in a paddock, and you'll just strike it off. You'll never be able to build a replacement dinosaur. You can still build that same species, but if you murdered off 4 Brachiosaurus, you can never build another Brachiosaurus. You only have up to those 4 spots to do that. You can have to destroy roads, and that's pretty painful. Demolish buildings and remove specialists. There's a few different punishments you can have. Removing 4 DNA. So it's a bad thing. You generally don't want death toll, but the lawyer helps if you get this lawyer here. These are all randomly brought out. At the end of the game, there is a handy score sheet at the bottom here. You're going to add up however many dinosaurs you've made, however many specialists you've hired, the buildings that you've built here. If you paid the cost of any of these and put these in your park, you're going to get the benefit of those. And you'll write that total value down, which is all marked on the actual building card. And then you'll do your exits, like I mentioned, any of them that you reached through roads, you'll mark there. And your excitement right here, you're going to take that number for whatever level you've reached, whatever line you've reached. And if you pass 61, you'll get additional points there. For every 2 DNA left in your storage, you're going to get a point. And when you have the deaths, that's going to subtract. Your death toll is going to subtract. And if you're over 21, you're going to start losing 2 points per death. So very straightforward roll and write game. That's how you play Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write.
And we're back for our review of Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write. Thank you for the teach, Vic. Give us your positives on... You're the dino girl, so give us some positives.
Yeah. Well, right away, dinosaurs. Oh my gosh, dinosaurs, love them. I know it's become a kind of fad or a popular thing now, like the owls were not long ago. I love dinosaurs, so immediately backed this Kickstarter as soon as I could. So we got the Rawr and Write and we got Dinosaur World together. Right away when we opened this box and I saw those dino erasers, I was so excited. I didn't want to use those. I didn't even want to have them be diminished in any way because they were so perfect. And at first we were wondering, what are these? What could these be? And then I realized it's an eraser. So it has like functionality and it's beautiful. So that's always a good thing. So yeah, I really liked the look of the game. I liked that you had 2 sheets. So it was very like, to me, it reminded me of Hadrian's Wall, but not because that was like the most intense roll and write that I've ever done. It was like a complete game. So I was immediately excited by that, to see the 2 sheets and think, okay, there's going to be a map. I get to draw some stuff out, cartographer style. I'm going to get to accumulate coins and purchase things and build dinos, which I love building dinos, and I saw the recipes right at the bottom. I go, there's dinos going to be made. And it's a cute, right, the Rawr and write, that's kind of a cute thing. And I've really gotten into roll and writes recently. They're just relaxing. They're fun. You can play them anywhere. The portability. I mean, we have a big table to play big games, but when I'm watching my hockey or we're watching sports or something on TV, we like to have this game, which you can casually play it. It's not too intensive. It's goes through the same similar rounds over and over again, where you're each phase you're gearing up for a final part of that round where you'll get to move around. So you're always kind of repeating things. You're not being hit by surprise necessarily with anything. It's just kind of going through and building up your park. So I really liked that. I really liked how the simplicity of learning it wasn't too complicated, and the symbology throughout was very consistent. It almost the repetitiveness, maybe a turn off for some people, but I just liked that it was repetitive, that you're not being thrown any real curveballs, or people aren't really affecting you, aside from taking a dice that maybe you might want. But that's mitigated where there's things that can, when they get a multiplier on their dice, then you also get something, and it just really worked well. I found the game altogether. So that's my positives in a nutshell. I just had a lot of fun with it.
Will we go positives?
Yeah.
All right, positives. Yeah, the look is good. It's nice, clean look. Nice boards for your roll and write type game. It's good production quality for a roll and write. It looks nice. So that's my biggest thing. Right when we opened the box, we saw how nice it looked. That bag, Vic was like, "Whoa, that bag!"
I really like the bag.
Yeah, the erasers, like Vic said. So the look is a very good, it's high end for a roll and write. It has Dinosaur Island mechanisms in there. You have the same dice in all 3 games, essentially.
Yeah, those DNA dice.
Our review of Dinosaur World will be going up soon, so we're just getting this one out of the way first for the main event. Yeah, I think the biggest positive is going to be actually the look for me. So that will lead me to the negatives. Well, you know what? Another positive, I do like worker placement. So there's worker placement in this, which is going to lead me to my negatives. Mm-hmm. There are 5 worker placement spots. Me not being a big roll and write fan in general, for a lot of different ones. I liked Yahtzee growing up. It had sentimental value to me. I played with my grandmother and my great-grandmother. It was the only game I knew how to play with, a bigger group of family. So it has that sentimental value to me. But other roll and writes, are just, kind of there. I don't like them as much. Even our Supercade one, I think you liked the game a lot more than I did. Mm-hmm. Just because roll and writes aren't my style. So I was hoping, seeing some worker placement out there, that I might be more intrigued, but there's only 5 spots, and that's not going to do it for me. I think the game is fine. I do. I'll happily play it, if you bust it out in a small area, like in a hotel or whatever, and you just want to play a quick game or something. It fits that purpose. Would I request this game? Never. This game I don't enjoy that much. I think it's an okay game, and I don't want to really rag on it because it's just not my style of game. So it could be for somebody else. I think Vic maybe likes it a lot more than I do, because she likes the theme. She likes Dinosaur Island itself, which I do like. I like Dinosaur Island quite a bit, actually. I won't spoil Dinosaur World, but I like Dinosaur Island quite a bit. I gave it a very good score, and so did Vic when we reviewed it a long time ago.
Check out our review.
I believe that's an old review, but yeah, it'll be low quality, but it'll be there. Sure, I'll post it as a tag. So I won't get my score yet. I'll go ahead. Did you have any negatives yourself?
I guess maybe it could be a little lengthy for what you're trying to accomplish. And I guess having an opportunity to be able to place things, it feels like once you visit it once, now you got to try to find another way to go around to get excitement. So it incentivizes you to build more paddocks and to do that. But the dinosaur thing can take a little long for people to make dinosaurs.
Big negative. That's a big negative for me.
I know that he was saying, oh, you can go do laundry while I make my dinosaurs, and I'm very trusting. He's a very honest person, so I let him make dinosaurs in privacy. But yeah, you don't know what to do while someone's figuring it out, and it kind of goes stale at that moment. You might feel like, because only one person can make those dinosaurs, unless you have the specialist that lets you do it during the final phase, where you're at the Jeep Tour phase. That's where you can actually make dinosaurs at that point. But if you didn't have that specialist, there's only one person that's going to get to do it on the worker placement.
Yeah, unless you do go on top. Remember, you can spend that.
Oh, you're right.
You get threat.
I always forgot.
You'll get threat. Yeah, I mean, that'll be going over in the rules. But as we teach, if you go back to Vic's teach,
yeah,
that'll be explained. But yeah, you can go on top of that spot. So you can always do an action. You'll just get secure. You'll get threat.
It's a lot of dinos to make too. 4? Wow, there you go. That's a lot all at once.
That's the biggest weak spot of the game right there.
Yeah.
Making dinos takes forever.
Yeah.
And you have another negative? Because I do.
No, you go ahead. I guess I would say the dice get kind of boring. So we were just playing with 2, and maybe this could be a symptom of playing it with more people. But we were playing 2 players only. We played few times now. 2 times maybe, or 3 times.
Ooh, at least 3.
Yeah, and we played, and it was like the dice were always the same. Like, I really didn't feel the excitement of like, oh, here's a really wild, valuable dice coming up, because you have only your player count times 2 plus 1 in the bag, right? There's 5 total dice available, and then we would pull out. Was it 5 or 6? There's always like 1 extra.
The in the bag itself, you get all of them.
I can't remember.
And then you draw the 5 that you mentioned.
Yeah, so I just felt like I was seeing the same dice a lot. And I don't know if that's, just something I had to live with.
There's not that much in the game. There's threat.
Yeah.
There's roads.
You're right, yeah.
Not threat. Security. There's security, there's roads, and there's...
Yeah. Which leads to, I'm sure, something you're thinking of where you're only limited to one of each of those, like, buildings, where you're building the merch, and then you're building the food, and then you're building the...
Yeah, I'm going even broader than that.
Oh.
The grid itself is boring. It's boring. So you can put out a big building, and all that's helping you with is to get a little bit more ground so you get to those exits. That's it. That's all it's really helping you with.
Yeah.
You're getting points based on how awesome your dinosaur is. It's a better dinosaur. It gives you more threat, but thus gives you more points. Yeah. But just on the board, the grid, I find that dull. I don't know. That wasn't... It looked clever. I was like, oh, we got something going on here. We got a little Tetris action. No, it's not that. It's just covering areas. You're trying to get bigger areas so you get closer to the exits, just taking up different areas, just chewing up areas. It's kind of not what I thought. So that was actually a negative for me. Not the biggest negative, because making dinos was actually the best part. That should have been the best part of the game was the worst for me. So that stinks. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but the best part was actually turned out to be the worst for me.
Yeah, I didn't like having to put the roads down, because after I built this stuff, you always had to consider those roads to actually get to the things you laid out on the map. But it makes, gives you more to do in the grand scheme of things, so I don't dock it for that. I just kind of personally was, roads, man, really?
But that's it.
Yeah,
How
so
high
my
is it?
score is an 8.3. I like the theme, I like the game, I like rolling rights a little more than Nick does, and I just like the simple. I don't always need a brain burner. I don't always need to be just like, complete heavy Euro, really complex. Sometimes I just don't mind something a little simple, just going through, playing a game that just seems to be repetitive, no surprises. I'm happy with that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm honest. But I am sorry that I harp on games sometimes. And this is somebody's, really hard work. They're really proud of it, I'm sure. And I hate to do that, especially because I'm not giving it a very negative score at all. I think the game is fine. I'm just not a big fan of rolling rights. That's on me. I needed a little bit more. I needed more actions out there for my worker placement. I can't just have 5. I need some other options. Come on. I need more meat on the bone when I have a worker placement game. But anyway, that is a problem of me. So I'm going to actually score it a 6.9. I think it's fine. It's worth giving a shot for sure. You might like it quite a bit, and I can see why you would. If you like rolling rights, I say check it out. If you don't like rolling rights, I say don't check it out. Mm-hmm. That's it.
I think that's fair, and we're married, so this game is never leaving our house, and luckily I'll get to play
it. That's good. It's a Kickstarter, better than that.
Yeah. So we'll get to play it whether he likes it or not.
Oh, no. I don't know that.
Yep. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, give it a like, thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more great reviews. We will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.